Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over the water to Denmark once again, and we're going to return to the island of Fyn, or Funen as you would say in English. And this is my second review from Midtfyns Bryghus. So for this one we are going to try their Imperial Stout, which comes in at 9.5%. It's rated at 95 on Rate Beer overall and 80 within the style, so it should be a really nice beer. And I remember these guys, I did the barley wine before, and that was a really kind of nice English style barley wine, quite different from a lot of the things you'll find on the market today. So I'm expecting something a little bit more quirky and unusual from this Imperial Stout. It should be really quite nice. This brewery have a very good reputation for the right reasons, I'd say. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual websites are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my future reviews and my other reviews that I've done from Midtfyns so far. I can guarantee there will be more added to that because these guys produce some pretty damn awesome stuff. But there's all the usual social media, so make sure you check that out. And if you do want to see more beer reviews, just subscribe to the channel. As always, I apologise to my Danish viewers for any bad Danish pronunciations in this video. I'm still learning Swedish since I moved to Lund, so Danish will take just that little bit longer. But please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries from Denmark that you'd like to see me review. The standard of Danish beer is ridiculously high, so if you haven't tried Danish craft beers, there's some really other good ones apart from Toil and Mikkeller. They produce awesome beer, but there is a huge variety of great craft beer from Denmark, so make sure you try some of it out. But anyway, to tell you about Midtfyns Bryghus. So Midtfyns are based in Årslev, which is near Odense on the island of Fyn in Denmark. If you think where Copenagen is on the far eastern side of Denmark, that's Sjælland. The next island to the west is Fyn. But the brewery was founded in an old butcher's in Brobeverk back in 2004, and they initially brewed their beers under license in Scotland, with the first beers going on sale in 2005, and this was the Braveheart and the Moulin Ale. But the company was taken over by American Eddie Zveda in 2006, and he still owns the brewery today. But under his guidance the brewery transformed quite significantly, and they changed the style of their brewing as well. But the brewery had an issue in 2007 with the makers of the film Braveheart, and they didn't want the beer basically to share the same name as the film, and this issue came up despite the film being 10 years old at the time. But the brewery had already decided at that point to remove Moulin and Braveheart from their range, but they were ordered to pay a 10,000 Danish krone fine. But they say this was kind of worthwhile because the press were very interested in the beer and the brewery because of this. But despite these issues, the brewery released 8 new beers in their first years under Eddie, and in the years following the brewery collaborated with the Danish Arsenal supporters club, Brouwerij de Molen from the Netherlands, and then homebrewer Erik Nielsen, who now owns Ølbutikken. And the beer that they produced with Erik was actually called Rough Snuff, and it originally contained tobacco, and this had to be removed because of EU laws, and so the beer was actually renamed Rough Snuff 2. I need to see if I can get a try of that one actually. But as of 2013 they're now based in their new home in Årslev near Odense, and they have a brand new brew kit there which they christened with their beer at Midtfyns Bryghus No. 1. So since 2009 they've also had a partnership with the Danish Blind Society, and all of their beer labels have braille on the side, so obviously blind people can use their finger and read it. I always think that's very cool to have little things like that. Braille is something that I'd really love to know if braille is the same in all different languages or exactly how it varies. I think that would be quite fascinating, but very cool to see that the brewery takes such an inclusive attitude to their brewing as well. That's the first brewery I've heard of that have put braille on their bottles, so that's very, very cool. But just to list the other beers you can get from these guys, so in their main range there's the Black Licorice Stout, Chili Klaus, Amarillo Single Hop, Pale Ale, Ghost Chili Klaus, Wheat, Wit, Ale, Gunner's Ale, Chili Triple, Rough Snuff, Imperial Stout, Barley, Påskebrygg, Double IPA, and also the Smoked Porter as well. So as you can tell by the different names of these beers, most of them are kind of English styles. They've got a Christmas beer which is called Jule Ale, they've also got Jule Stout and Gøjul as well. So there's quite a few different Christmas beers that you can try at Christmas time, but most of their beers are very highly rated, and this is a brewery that I think you can get fairly easily out with Denmark. We get them here in Sweden, and I think I've seen them at home kind of on odd occasions as well, so do keep an eye out for Midtfyns Bryghus. These guys brew more of an English style craft beer, but they do it very, very well. But anyway, that's enough about the brewery. Let's actually get on to the tasting of this beer itself. I'll just bring up the camera and let you have a little look at the artwork on this one. I've actually noticed this one actually doesn't have the braille on it, But the other one that I did that I actually brought back from Denmark if you remember the barley wine bottle, that was a big half-litre one that I had. This one is a small 330, so maybe they do their export beers in 330 bottles, and the bigger ones are for the domestic market only. You can see there's a little bit about the beer on the side there. It just tells you about what kind of malts and things. I looked this up before I read it. The beer has several different types of roasted malts, and it's also aged over oak as well, with some bitter and chocolate and vanilla flavours as well. So it should be very nice. It actually tells you on the side here in English too. It says Midtfyns Imperial Stout is a dark, full-bodied beer with rich, creamy head. It's brewed from a blend of roasted malt varieties and aged with oak wood to enrich the fullness of the taste. This beer has a powerful oak, coffee, bitter chocolate and vanilla character. Enjoy Midtfyns Imperial Stout with strong cheese, game or chocolate desserts. It's also perfectly served in a cognac glass when it's time to put your feet up and relax in front of the fireplace. Best served between 10 and 14 degrees. I think this one will be about 8 or maybe 9 degrees at the moment, so it's just a little bit under what it should be, but once we get it out into the glass it should warm up a little bit more. There as well you can see the Midtfyns bottle cap on this one, just exactly the same as the label on the bottle. So let's get this guy open and we'll get on with the tasting. This guy doesn't want to come off. There you are. So yeah, a little bit of a smoky opening there, but I think I screwed it up when the bottle didn't open initially. But yeah, I was thinking about that. My last 4 beer reviews that I've done for you have all been Imperial Stout, so we'll do something different for the next video, of course. But my liver must be hating me after drinking basically 4 10% beers over the last 2 days. I think I filmed these ones actually. I did them over a weekend, so I had 2 a day as a bit of a treat. But I tell you something, my mouth certainly isn't complaining at all. They were all very, very nice. So as you can see, this beer has poured a really nice dark rosewood amber colour. It looks absolutely beautiful. Dark rosewood ebony, I should say, not amber colour. It looks very, very nice. A couple of little tiny bits of sediment just at the bottom of the glass there. Some big bubbles just sticking towards the side, but quite a few little ones going up towards the bottom of that head. There was about a quarter finger of a frothy kind of beigey tan head there, but that's faded away just to be a very thin foamy layer. But it looks very, very nice. Very much looking forward to trying this beer. Should be really good. So let's have a closer look at the aroma here. That actually smells quite sweet. You can smell the roasted malts underneath this. There's a definite earthy hop presence in there. For me, I would be willing to bet that they've used some English hops in this. But when you've got so much roasted malt in it, it's also that. It does smell a little bit oatmealy and a little bit grainy. You can definitely get this more kind of almost bready character, this kind of wholemeal, whole grain bread character in this one. It's really, really nice. Yeah, it's a really nice smelling beer, that. When you sugar it up a little bit more, you get a little bit more of the red fruity ester on this one. I'm getting a good bit of kind of raisins or raisins or sort of plums on this one. It's got quite a sharp red fruity character to it. It definitely smells more like an English stout than some of these other Imperial Stouts that are a bit sweeter. It does smell like it's got some of that darker, earthy English stout character to it. I remember saying that with the barley wine as well. That was definitely more of an English barley wine. But it's nice. Some real big earthy hop characters. Those cereal flavours, aromas coming out quite a lot as well. Some chocolate and vanilla. Maybe a little bit of licorice as well, actually. It's almost got a little bit of a tobacco note. You can definitely smell the kind of oaky, woody characters in there as well. It smells really nice. Just take a little bit of time and smell this before you actually get stuck into it. Maybe a bit of peaty character too. It's very, very interesting. So yeah, enjoy this one. Give it a good smell before you get stuck in. But let's try this beer now. So this is the Imperial Stout. Comes in at 9.5% from Midtfyns Bryghus in Årslev near Odense, Fyn, Denmark. Skål! Now that's really interesting. Up front, it's quite sweet, but then when you move into the aftertaste, it really is quite earthy. The earthy flavour really spreads into the malt there. That's really nice actually, and very quirky. Each of these Imperial Stouts I've reviewed over the last few videos have been really quite nice beers, so a bit of a treat on the channel, I guess, for you. That's really nice. In the middle of the palate, when the liquid's on your tongue, you've got a lot of nice chocolatey flavour, definite vanilla presence in there. There's some woody character as well. The woody and vanilla character really mixes together quite nicely, but then the flavour just subsides on the tongue. Then you start to get these more earthy and kind of grainy characters. The sort of more toasted, roasted malts in this one are very, very nice. Oh, that's a very, very nice beer. You're getting some of the coffee notes just underpinning this, but there's a lot of roasted, kind of almost slightly peaty malts in this one actually. It definitely has a big earthy character to this one, I would say. But that's really nice. I have to be honest and say, normally I'm not a big fan of the kind of English styles of beer, if you like, the sort of real ale styles, but Midtfyns actually take them and do them very nicely, I'd say. There are some really good examples of real ales that turn out very nicely, but normally I'm more into the kind of classic German or Belgian Scotch ales and the American style of beers too. The English real ales was just something I didn't take to normally, but Midtfyns seem to do some really good ones. And that said, I have discovered some really nice and tasty examples of English real ale too. Maybe I'm just not looking in the right places actually, but this is a very, very nice beer. And that said as well, the breweries in England that brew the American style beers do a pretty damn awesome job. But yeah, this is a really nice beer, definitely leaning towards that kind of English style stout, but there is a bit of the more kind of American sweetness in this one, but the earthy character is really, really nice. Yeah, in the middle of the palate, definitely a big kind of dry and almost bitter earthy character there, a bit of coffee flavour too. You can get the chocolate, vanilla, maybe even a tiny bit of licorice, but mainly chocolate and vanilla flavours on top of that. The sweetness is really nice in this beer. You can taste the woody character as well. Around the edges of the palate you've got quite a smooth earthiness to the beer. It gets a little bit drier around the front in my opinion, but around the back sides it's actually very smooth and very earthy. There's a little bit of a red fruity ester just behind that front curve of the tongue too. Yeah, sort of figs, more of a figgy flavour in this one. It's a bit smoother and more like a kind of candied red fruit. It always reminds me a little bit of these kind of heart-shaped sweets that you get in Haribo Star Mix. The sort of fruity esters that you have in this beer remind me a lot of that. It's really nicely done this. The flavours all work together very well. You've got the chocolate, then the vanilla flavours that mix really nicely with the little red fruity ester in there. The hops are very smooth. There's a little bit of dryness around the front and just a little touch on the back as well, but that builds a good bridge between the sort of earthy, peaty and slightly coffee-ish malts that are in this one. It's really got a roasted underline in this beer, which works very nicely, but it makes a very good transition from the sweet side of things into the more roasted and dry bitter character. It's very nicely done. A big thumbs up to Midtfyns Bryghus for this one. Very, very good beer. So if you like quite roasted stouts and you like kind of earthy and peaty flavoured beers, I'm sure you will enjoy this one. It's really nice actually. If I was brewing a stout for myself, I'd never really think of this combination, or to do a combination like this with more earthy, peaty malts, but it works out very, very well actually. I really like this beer. I'll definitely, if I see it again, I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this. It'd be lovely to try it on tap actually, where it's got a bit more of a thick mouthfeel, but really, really good beer. In terms of the mouthfeel of this one, I'd say this is mid-bodied. It's a little bit lighter than some of the other ones I've reviewed. That said, that doesn't affect the flavour at all. It's actually quite oily and quite syrupy. The carbonation is smooth. As I said, it comes in initially with a big sweetness, and then that just subsides and the centre of your palate gets quite dry and you get those more earthy and coffee flavours out, but initially it's really quite sweet. The hoppy character is mainly smooth, but has a little bit of dryness to it as well, and you do have some juiciness from these fruits as well. But this is a very, very good beer, make no mistake about that. And as I said, Midtfyns, if you're interested in Danish beer, this is a very good place to start. If you like the more English style beers, then you will definitely enjoy this one. In terms of the stout category, I'd say maybe this one finds itself somewhere between an American stout, which is a bit sweeter, and an English stout, but that said, you do get the English milk stouts as well. So It could be somewhere in the middle there. It's got a good bit of both worlds. I really like it for this earthy kind of peaty character that it has, so it's a very quirky one, and it's definitely worth trying if you come across. And in terms of the rating on Rate Beer, I would agree with that. This is the Rate Beer rating for this one is probably about right. But yeah, very, very good beer. If you want to try some Danish beers and you enjoy Imperial Stouts, Midtfyns Imperial Stout is probably a good one to go for. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. This has been another really good Danish one. I'll definitely be returning to this brewery at some point in the near future. Their barley wine is very interesting as well, but that's a beast. That was like 11% or something from what I remember. But if you do enjoy good beer, go and check out Midtfyns Bryghus. If you have tried this beer yourself, let me know your own thoughts on it in the comment section below. But until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Go and check out the social media and do go and try some Midtfyns beers. These guys are very, very good. But I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. If you're watching from Denmark, get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries you'd like me to try. But until then, it's Slange just now, and we will be returning to Denmark fairly soon. Cheers.